Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. Today I'm going to be going over a highly sought after opinion of how to get the proper ratios for your deck in Digimon the TCG 2020. Alright, we're going to go over ratios as well as I want to cover a few top tier decks that are a little bit unique and you should probably be aware of that you don't always necessarily need to follow this. But this is a good, very basic idea of how you want to set your deck up for your first match. Let's get into this. As always, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe. We're close to that 1,000 mark. We're almost there. And if you like Digimon, the new TCG game, and you're getting into it for the first time, then please subscribe because I'm going to be covering this game every single week. I'm trying to bring you guys as much information so that way you're ready at launch, as well as if you're just new and the game's already out, if you're just trying to get into this game for the first time, on where to begin and how you should go about getting into it, right? So that's what my channel is going to be covering, a lot of all that, as well as we'll be doing pack openings eventually, as well as getting games in, of course. So definitely subscribe for that. If you really want to support the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That goes a long way for this channel. I can make more videos that way and then do more and more, get out more videos than just once a week for you guys. So definitely consider checking me out over there. You can also get into my Discord server. It's private, exclusive, only to Patreon members. So a little incentive there on that one. A one-time fee and you get in permanently. This is a very simple setup, right? This is, you got your eggs here, you've got your rookies, your champions, your ultimates down here, and your megas, right? We also got some tamers and a few option cards for you guys. But ratios, right? That's the big thing that new players coming into this that have no clue about the game, they're trying to figure out. They're always asking, you know, how many of each type do I put in my deck? Well, that's what we're going to do right here. And so what I did here was I threw together very quick, very basic idea of kind of what you're going to want, right? So let's start from the beginning here. We got, of course, our our Digitamas, our eggs. I believe in the English we're sticking with eggs on these guys. So I've got 4 and 1. And you may ask, well, why not, you know, spread them out evenly? So as of right now in the game, we're still very early on. We don't have a whole lot of different options. So when we get a good option, we have to maximize on it as much as possible. And since we can only have 4 of one card, not name, but one card in a deck, then we really want to try to get as many of those as possible. So what I did right here, and we'll kind of talk about the theory of the deck as we go along, is I put in 4 of this Koromon. So its evolution source down here, its ability is if your Digimon has 4 or more Digivolution sources, the Digimon gets 1000 DP. Alright, so the idea is basically we're racing as fast as possible to get up in here to our WarGreymon, right? We bring our WarGreymon out, and the idea is just to attack into the opponent and hopefully just clear them in one go, right? Or at least take them down to almost nothing, so that way someone else can come in and clean up. So the idea of having 4 or more Digivolution sources should be easy. So you'll have your egg, your rookie, your champion, and your mega, and that's going to be your 4. So when you go into your mega here, what did I say? Champion and ultimate, and then so when you go into mega here, then you'll that'll be your 5th one, right? Something like that. So you'll have enough basically. So that's the idea for Koromon. And then for our last option here, just I went with Digimon because if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their trash, he gets 1000 DP. I see purple and black, both of those mixed together and not mixed. I see those kind of getting a little more popular. Like Impmon sends stuff to the trash, and there's new virus types coming out where you're going to see a lot of being able to search your trash and pull stuff out of it. So they're going to be sending a lot of stuff to the trash to be able to search for what they need directly from it. So I thought he would be a good inclusion there as our 1/5 of option. All right, so going into our rookies here. First up, so I'm playing 2 Agumons. The first one has an inheritable here. Is Digimon gets 1000 DP. Very plain, straightforward, very simple. He's a 0 cost evolution. So a plain, simple 1000 DP. And then the next Agumon we have here. So he's got the inheritable. If this Digimon contains Greymon, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. If the name contains Greymon. So we've got some Greymon here, some Metal Greymon, and then we've got, and our goal, right, is to get into War Greymon. So basically, he's going to be live pretty much the whole time. There's a few instances at some points where he won't be, but the ultimate goal is for him to be live. I'll skip over this guy. Well, I guess I can talk about him. So he is a generic, right? And what I mean by generic is, if you look, he has no abilities at all. But what's different about him is he has a play cost of 2. So if I don't want to evolve him on top of one of my Digitamas, I just want to play him straight out of my hand onto the battlefield, he's only going to be a 2 cost. Whereas if you look at these other guys here, if I play them straight from my hand, they're a 3. So these guys, the other ones, I'm going to want to evolve them more often than I want to just play them. There will always be instances where you want to play them from hand, and so what I did here was, so I got the generics. I've got 2 different options here for playing from hand. So we look at this first one. It says, when played, all right, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 tamer card from amongst them to your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So he's a nice little searcher here for our tamer, and I put 2 different ones down here, and I'm going to explain why that I didn't go all out like I've been talking about. You want to go kind of go all out on your best cards. This tie right here, these are super popular right now. Every color has them. They have a tamer that has the same ability, basically, of at the start of your turn, if your memory is 2 or less, it becomes 3. Super important, especially early on. The earlier you can get this played, the absolute better off you will be, because your opponent's always trying to just give you like 1 memory or 2 memory, and then you can't really do a whole lot. So then you have to, you know, play a rookie from hand for, you know, with, you say you're at 1, and you have to go put them up to 2. So they're already getting it more advantage than you are, and then you have to basically end your turn immediately after playing that. So something like this kind of just helps out. It keeps you in the positive. So if you go to 3, you play that 3 cost rookie, that puts you at 0, it's still your turn. You get to play 1 more card, basically, for a cost, right? And then it'll go to their opponent's turn. So that's the main point of him. The second ability is always going to be different, though, for all the different colored tamers. So this one, your turn, all of your red Digimon with 4 more Digivolution sources get +1 security attack. Again, that is the theme of this deck, is basically we're trying to get as much security attack as possible, and we're trying to get to War Greymon as fast as possible. And he's always going to have 4 evolution sources. So key card right here. So you may ask again, why am I not maxing him out? All right. If I ever draw multiples of him, the other ones are dead cards. They're completely useless. So what I did was I went with the Searcher here, and you could even maybe drop this down to 2. It's more up to personal opinion on this. I would not go to 4. I wouldn't go below 2 either, though. So it's a 3 or 2, I would say, because you don't want to draw multiples, and you have this Agumon here that can search for you. So you play him straight from your hand, because you're going to play rookies every so often, pretty often, I would say, straight from the hand. It's going to happen. So might as well get a good effect that's really going to benefit your deck and your whole strategy by searching for that key tamer card that's going to really help you out. Alright, and then to offset that, I threw in another tamer here, the other tie, and he's just a good generic. All of your Digimon get +1000 DP. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. He's only a 2 cost. Just something else to look at. You could just run the 3 and not run him. There's nothing that says you have to run 4 tamer cards, okay? Especially in red, it doesn't necessarily matter, but I just wanted to throw him on the page just so you could see him. Our last rookie here, though, is Professor Agumon. And his ability, so he's another one that you're going to want to play straight to the field when you are kind of forced to. Return a Digimon whose name contains Agumon from your trash to your hand. And mainly why I kind of wanted to include him, he's not necessarily a must, but just for the strategy and just theory crafting here, something like this is going to be a great one to get back that plus 2,000 DP or the plus 1,000 DP, okay? Because they're both pretty solid, and being able to get them back could be a benefit. Now, not necessarily a meta level card. You definitely do not have to play him. This is just an idea of just different strategies you can go about, and there's no end-all be-all. There's not like one ultimate red deck that's just the absolute best. This is just, you can fiddle with the numbers. You can drop him completely and go with 2 of this one if you want, or I mean 4 of this one if you want, you know, to really kind of maximize out making sure you get this guy. So in total, though, that's going to bring our rookies up to 16. Alright, so if you made it this far, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the rest of the ratios right now, and then we're going to continue on and kind of go over what we got here. So the idea is you're going to want to run about 14 to 16 of your rookies, right? You can't really get to these higher levels without a rookie, so you need to have your rookies. Again, you're only going to ever be able to maximally evolve 5 of these guys. The rest of them all have to be played from hand. Granted, most games aren't going to last that long, so you'll be lucky if you could ever evolve all 5 of these. But it does potentially come up in those super incredibly long games. But we maximize on these numbers because in that opening hand you're drawing your cards, you want to see 1 to 2 of these guys right here. So that's why we play so many more of these than any other card in our entire deck. For this strategy, and most strategies, it's going to be your rookies will always be your maximum. So 14 to 16 on these guys. For the video, I went ahead and went with 16 as the absolute most generic strategy. 16 is the way to go. I'm pretty positive on that. Next up, you're going to have roughly about 10 to 12 of your champions. And then your ultimates, you're going to want to have about 6 to 8. I would probably go with 8 on this one, because next up is going to be your megas, and you're probably going to want to run about 6 to 8 megas, depending on the deck. And I'm going to go over why I went ahead and maximized on the 8 here. I would probably say 6 normally, but for this guy here, he's kind of a special case. So we'll discuss him in a bit. So that's why I went with 8 on that one, and that's going to be kind of your generic Digimon ratios. After that, your tamers and your options, they're kind of interchangeable. You're definitely going to want to have the one, at least 2 to 3 of the ones that are going to give you the bonus memory, and then the rest of them option cards. So if you're, like I said, if you're playing 14 to 16 of the rookies, you drop that down to 14, and then you drop 2 off of your champions, and then 2 off your ultimates, and you're playing the bare minimum of your Digimon. You can bump these numbers down here up. You can run 4 tamers and like 8 option cards if you wanted. Just different ideas, different things you can do. So if you run less Digimon, you can run more of the other stuff. Make sense? I think it makes fairly good sense. Alright, so next up, we're going to jump over here. This is going to be our champions, right? So this is our level 4. We're going to evolve these guys on top of our rookies. So first up, we got a Greymon here. Again, going with the strategy. If we have a Greymon in the name, we get that extra bonus there. So he'll always have it if we play it on top of the other Greymon. And he just gives a flat 2,000 DP buff. He's only a nice 2-cost evolution, fairly cheap, and evolves well. You can play him from your hand. He is an optional play from hand. He's probably, out of all the ones I chose, the only one that you could potentially play from hand if it really came down to it. I hope you don't, but he would be the one, if you did, that you'd want to. Next up, we've got the next Greymon. Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you the ratios, like I said. All right, so we're playing 14 to 16. Next up, we've got the second Greymon here, and this is the one from the starter deck. Again, only 2 evolution costs, not bad at all. But this 5 cost to play, that's steep. You're getting up there. You probably don't want to play this guy straight from hand. He has no win plate effects, so you're probably best to avoid that. But he has a nice security attack +1, and that is our ultimate goal here in this deck, is to get as much security attack as possible to really maximize out on this strategy. So that's why he's here. Next up, this is when we're kind of getting a little more unique again. So going back to the rookie here, we had this nice 2 cost compared to everyone else's 3 cost to play straight from the hand. If you have to play one of these 3 from hand, if you want to play one of them straight from hand, it's this Greymon here. This next one, though, he's kind of different. So this is what we call kind of a rush card. What I mean by rush is he's only 1 cost to evolve. If you see that right there. So he's super cheap to evolve compared to these other 2. But he gives no benefit to evolving. But since he's only 1 cost, you're more likely to be able to shoot straight past him and keep your turn going and dropping down one of these ultimates here. So I've got this Metal Greymon. He's pretty interesting. You see him in some stuff, but not necessarily in everything. He's kind of like a miniature War Greymon, because he has a security attack +2. The only problem is you're only going to get 1, so you tap him to attack, and then you just got to kind of hope all of his security attack pluses go through. So, because when I say that is when attacking, -5 to memory. So, say your opponent gives you, say you go up to 4. You can evolve this guy, right? And then you can immediately drop into your Metal Greymon. It'll put you right at 0. So that's the benefit of evolving with this guy, is if you evolved one of these 2 and then went into the Metal Greymon, your turn ends. But if you drop this guy on top of him, then you get to go straight into your next turn, or you get to go straight into your attack. So he's not going to get the benefit of Koromon, but he's going to get this, nice little +2,000 DP from him, or the 1,000 from this Agumon, right? If you dropped, if you happen to get this Greymon, you get a +1 security attack. Combine it with his own +2, so that's +3 security attack. If you go into the tie, if you have the tie on field, that's a +4 security attack. That clears. If you go straight for the attack, so you get the normal hit, the normal swing, and then +4 security attack. So that'll completely clear the security. And then you just need 1 more Digimon. It doesn't matter what it is, a rookie to go and swing for game. So he's potentially a game changer. The only problem is you probably won't be able to score that victory, because when you attack, he's going to hit you with that -5 memory and probably end your turn immediately. Especially if you have to evolve him and evolve another one on top of it. You're already, when you swing for that attack, you're already going to be probably ending your turn right there. But it'll set you up for basically next turn automatic win. If you can swing past, make sure they don't have any blockers or anything like that. So if you rush it really well, you can evolve, basically. You flip over your Koromon, you evolve an Agumon, then you evolve your oh god, what's this guy's name? Dark Tyrannomon, right? You've only spent 1 so far, and if you go first, that'll end you. But if you're going second, it could be better, because then you're going to push you back to your turn. Although giving your opponent 1 memory to work with isn't a whole lot. Remember that whole strategy I was talking about? You want to do that as much as possible before they can break out one of these higher level tamers that are going to give them free memory all the time. So then they're going to push it back to your turn. You're going to drop this Metal Greymon and then pull them out of the starting zone here, the raising area, and then immediately go into that attack. However, you're going to need this Greymon if you're going to want to try to push for game. So just FYI there, you can go into him if it's not going to end your turn. If it's going to end your turn because you're going first, I would go into this Greymon instead, just for that extra security attack when it's going to come up next turn, and then drop this guy and then go and try to swing for game. However, Metal Greymon isn't our end-all be-all. He's just one of our options to swing for game. The next one I want to talk about is going to be the strategy to go for War Greymon. If you look at this guy, he's another generic. He's only a 2 evolution cost, right? Whereas this Metal Greymon here, he's a 3. So if we're trying to just hit him and then keep going past him into War Greymon, the better option is to go for the cheaper one. So this is what we like to call is kind of a rush strategy to get to your hires. Maybe not necessarily rush, because you have Rookie Rush, which is just summoning a whole bunch of rookies and attacking for game, whereas this is just kind of rush you through all the evolutions straight into your best. And that's going to be kind of I wanted to include both of these War Greymon because they're both good in their own way. So we're going to kind of cover both of them. This is the cheaper evolution cost. This is only a 3. So if you're going to be able to attack immediately after playing, evolving into this might be the better one because he's a little bit cheaper. And when he's Digivolved, he gets security attack +1, right? So let's add those guys up now. So Koromon, he's definitely going to give us that 1,000 buff now. If we use this Agumon, that's going to give us a 2,000 nice little buff here. Greymon's going to give us our first +1. If potentially have that DP or the cheaper one, and then this security attack. So that's +2, as well as our +1 from our tamer here. So that's a +3 on top of him. That's not going to that's not going to clear all of his security. If he's let max security, then at most that's going to clear 4. His basic attack and then his +3 security. But what I like about this guy is, and I think because at first this guy was the lower of the War Greymons. You didn't want to play this guy. However, virus types are getting more popular, and we're seeing more of them. And what they do is if they're in the security stack, they get to just go straight to the field summoned, which was potentially super dangerous if it's a high level, a 4 or a 5, heaven forbid if it's a 6, and he could just go straight to the field without paying cost, whereas this guy, security effect doesn't activate. So stuff like Terraforce, which just gets to play for free, that's an 8 cost right here. This is an 8 cost card that just gets to nuke anything on the field. This guy's canceling out everything. So all these option cards, all these tamer cards, if you're playing against yellow, that's probably a good idea to play against yellow because their tamers don't get to play for free, as well as anything playing with these virus cards, they just get to summon these monsters straight to the field. He cancels all of that, and I think those are kind of really popular right now, or at least they're going to be popular set drops, and those cards are going to be super, super popular. So just be on the lookout. I think he's kind of a sleeper option here, just because he cancels out those guys. However, if we're trying to just push for game here, we can look at this War Greymon. He is a little bit more expensive. He is a 1 more. However, for each Digivolution sources this card has, +1 security. So again, how many is that? So we're gonna have our Digi-Egg, our Rookie, so that's 1+, and then we've got our Champion and our Ultimate. That's another +. So that's +2, right? As well as if we've got this Greymon underneath him, that's going to be +3. And if we've got the tie on the field, that's +4. So him by himself, 1 straight attack into the first security, and then that +4 security attack afterwards, that has the potential to clear the entire security in 1 attack. And then again, just like earlier we were talking about with the Metal Greymon, then you just need 1 more attack to get through to straight in and kill the opponent. I know he's popular now, but I think he might be less so because of all the security options that are coming out in the future, and that I think the strategy is probably going to fall back to the old original War Greymon with canceling out those security. I think this is just kind of a little bit more difficult to to pull off. I mean, you got to really have the stars aligned. You know, you've got to have this Greymon on the field. You've got to have your tamer on the field to really start getting to get that maximum impact of being able to clear in one go. Whereas I think this is the safer option. Okay, so just something to think about. He is a little bit lower on the DP, so you got to make sure that he's, you know, kind of amped up a little bit. So you want that Koromon, give him the 1,000. The good Agumon here, he's going to give him 2,000. So that's a nice 3K buff we're running on him. If you happen to be running this Greymon, that's another 2K, so that's 5K. All right, he doesn't give us, but our other tamer does. That's 6K, so that puts us at 17 right there in total for that War Greymon. That's going for the damage buff instead of the security attack pluses. So just general strategy. So that's the ultimate strategy of this. Now let's kind of look at the extra stuff here. So first off, I want to just cover Terra Force. I kind of mentioned it briefly. He just destroys one Digimon. So your opponent plays their best card, and then it's probably pretty expensive, so they'll pass it back to you. You just drop this Terra Force, takes it off the board, and they're back to square one. If they spent all that time evolving upwards, all of those Digi sources gone, and so is their big bad monster. So pretty nice generic destroy any Digimon on the field. Pretty great. Alright, but I want to cut back over to this guy. So this guy is kind of a like a meta level tech option. He's nice for us red players because we're going to have the potential just to evolve into him if need be. He's got a nice security attack +1. Whereas War Greymon, kind of similar, right? This one here has the potential to get a +2. Whereas this one, we don't even have to evolve him. We can play him straight from our hand, and he still gets that security attack. Now, he's not necessarily your big push for damage card. The reason we put him in here is for his wind plate effect. Destroy all your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less. Remember that strategy I kind of briefly mentioned earlier, the rookie rush strategy? So there is a meta deck out there that its whole thing is about running all these super cheap rookies and just attacking and spamming them out constantly and winning the game before the opponent ever has a chance to ramp up. So something like your War Greymon strategy, depending on the route you go, could be fairly expensive, could take 2 or 3 turns. With this rookie rush strategy, though, they're just go, 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 go. Oh, you're dead before you ever got a chance to really pull off your big, super powerful, strong strategy. This guy is kind of the answer to that. So your opponent starts, they bring out 2 or 3 rookies, just drop this guy straight from your hand and clear them all, okay? And then you got a nice little 10K body sitting on there with a security attack +1, so he can start working over your opponent, all right? He has an 11 cost, fairly expensive, but he saves lives. So what's nice about this card is you can play him in any deck, and you'll see him in any deck. So they'll play him at 2 or 3 copies in yellow, blue. I mean, all these different strategies are running this one random red card because he's the best counter to this oddball strategy, right? And maybe even not necessarily someone that's running that particular strategy, but if your opponent ever puts themselves in a predicament where they've got, say 3 rookies on the field at once, and they pass it back to you, you just drop this guy and clear them off the board. That might not be their strategy, the rookie rush, but it's still a great opportunity just to clear them out. So great tech option for any deck. Now, the reason I bumped it up to 4 was because it is a red deck. So we can evolve him for only 3 if we're just trying to push for game. We've got, the security attack +1, combined with any of these other guys. He could help us win the game just off of a nice evolution. So that's why I bumped him up to 4 for this particular strategy. But he's definitely kind of a 2 of in a lot of decks right now. Now, let's look at some stuff that's a little bit out of the box and doesn't fit in with this kind of strategy. Alright, so the first strategy I want to kind of look at right here is this is the ShineGreymon strategy. So you may have heard of this one, weren't really sure what it is. So basically the whole point of this is to climb as rapidly as possible. So you see a bunch of very cheap cost evolutions to get into the ShineGreymon. And so his special ability right here is when Digivolved, rest all of your yellow tamers. For every tamer rested by this effect, activate the following effect. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP until the end of this turn. That's it. That's the whole strategy of this deck, is to get this guy out with a whole bunch of tamers on your field. And if you're not aware, if your Digimon ever hits 0 DP, they basically are instantly destroyed. So this guy, he can just split all of his damage up. Basically, well, I say damage, but he can split this ability up. So if you've got 3 tamers, he could split that up, 8,000 here, 4,000 here, or 4,000 off of all these guys, or 12,000 off as one, big monster. So he has the potential to clear an entire board. So the idea, right, is to have a lot of tamers. So look at this tamer count over here. He's running 12 tamers. This is the only deck, the only strategy I've seen so far that has such a vast amount of tamers. 12 tamers is huge. The All Force Vigramon strategy has a decent amount, but it's still like maybe 6 or something like that, just depending on how you want to play it. But this has twice that. This is crazy. So, and what's nice about all these guys is all their security abilities are, they get to just go straight onto the field for free. But you see the strategy here is basically you just beef up your security like tremendously, and then you also, while we're doing this, you're recovering your security, you're also building up your tamers. And why are you building up your tamers? To drop this ShineGreymon onto your opponent and just nuke their whole field. So that's a different strategy, a different ratio strategy than the other stuff you've seen. And lastly, just to wrap up the video, I wanted to give just a quick example of kind of a rookie rush scenario that I was talking about. So if you'll look here, we've got all these level 3s. Look, it goes all the way to the end here. So that is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 rookies, right? And then the rest is all just level 4s. So super cheap, very, very low cost to play these guys, right? I mean, they're almost all low cost evolutions, as well as low cost play from hand. So, I mean, that's crazy. Very, very low cost guys here. And it's just all about playing as fast as possible, as many of these as you can, and just pushing for game, right? Just a very generic strategy. Blue's really nice about it because they've got Vulcan's Hammer, or I forget what the other version of it's called, but you just get free memory off of that, so it's a 0 cost, and you get to play that, and so that's just more rookies. You just get to keep playing and just push. So the idea is to win, in 2 to 3 turns before your opponent has a chance to really build up that big ShineGreymon, or build up, the War Greymon strategy like we talked about earlier. So that's why a lot of people are playing that red card I told you about, where you just drop that and you clear the field of all their rookies. Just something to think about. It's out there, okay? It's dangerous. It has stolen some victories in tournaments, so just be mindful. But those are kind of just the oddballs that kind of break the mold on general strategy on ratios, right? I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's kind of long. I did both the examples and the basic generic guide all in one, so hopefully it's long enough that you guys stuck around. If you did stick around, please like the video. It helps me out tremendously, and please subscribe to the channel. We're almost to that 1,000 mark, okay guys? It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. It'll feel like a great accomplishment, that's for sure for me. So I appreciate it. But with that, I'll see you next time.